Well, hello and good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Carmen Bright, and this is Car Chronicles. How are you guys doing? Good to see you guys, or I think I see you guys. You guys ready? Come on, let's do this. What happens when you come out of a family history and generational history of narcissists? I did a conference on July 27th. Those of you that are interested in purchasing it and watching the replay of the conference, it was phenomenal. And we were talking about breaking generational cycles and generational trauma. And in order to break a generational trauma or break generational cycles, you have to identify the patterns. Not only do you have to identify the patterns, you're going back to the root. You're going back to family to see, what are the family dynamics? What are the patterns in the family? And patterns create cycles. And not only do patterns create cycles, but you have subsystems. Subsystems come together and create systems. So you have family systems. And in every systems, you do have rules. You have patterns, you have rules that help the system function or help that system create its own homeostasis. Now, is the homeostasis or is the function of the system healthy? No, sometimes it's toxic, but somehow or another they function. This is what they do. And anytime you make up your mind and decide, I'm tired of going through this, you can look at your own children and you see narcissistic personality disorder. You look at your own generation, your siblings, and you see narcissistic personality disorder. You go and look at your family, your parents and their generation, your aunts, your uncles, maybe even your parents, NPD. You look at your grandparents, both sides, and their siblings, NPD. You look at your great grandparents and you see on both sides, NPD. Just imagine going back, what was going on. And at that time, they didn't have names for it. But you have all these patterns throughout generations of narcissistic personality disorders, narcissists. And each one of these families, the family systems, they're dysfunctional. You could tell because of the things that they were saying to each other. There's a communication pattern. There's, you see the bitter women and their negative comments about men and what men are good for, or the men who have a disdain toward women, yet they're marrying the women, but they have a disdain toward the women and they're teaching the men, or they have been abused, or there has been violations in the family that were kept secret. My little big sister, Tasha Fields, was talking about the different generations. You have the silent generation. You have the baby boomers. You have the Gen X's, like some of us. You have the millennials. You have what's after the millennials? It was the Gen Z's. Then you have the is it Gen A or the Alpha generation? But when going back into the silent generation, you have this abuse going on. It was always there, but it was you be quiet, you support. This is what they were taught. Where you go into the baby boomer generation, where women weren't making as much money as the men were, and so the whole concept was. And I remember my grandmother saying the concept is find a good man that's able to sustain you. If you got kids out of wedlock, just hope that he's able to take care of your children too, and you owe him. So your responsibility is to take care of the home, take care of the kids, shut your mouth, and you owe him. So imagine the mindsets that were passed on. But you had this abuse going on, and think about it. You had World War I and World War II, and the things that were going on. And now you're finding out that in the silent generation, in the baby boomer generation, what sexual violation, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, so I'm sorry. This is for educational purposes only. This is psychoeducation from a therapeutic standpoint. So I'm not sure if I was supposed to say that, but you had the violations that were taking place, and what goes on in my house stays in my house. You don't talk about it to anybody. And so this has been passed on. So imagine these dysfunctional family dynamics, and some of them that you came out of. And some of you guys, you think to yourself, you may have been the scapegoat. You're the truth teller. You're not going to play the game, and I'm not going to sit here and play quiet. I'm not going to sit here and play this game. Those of you even if you're not the scapegoat. But those of you that have decided that, this is your comfort zone, that doesn't mean that you were comfortable in it or that you liked it, but this was a comfort area. And so when you leave your family dynamics, you wonder why you're magnetized to people like that, because it's a familiarity. It is a familiar place where it is a comfort zone. You know how to function in that dysfunction. And you know what it's like when a person, starts to escalate. You know what to do to de-escalate, to get out of the. So you are trained for that type of trauma. You are trained for that type of dysfunction. And one day, you get educated. One day you learn that I can't take this anymore. I refuse to take this anymore. So you become the virus in the system. What happens when a virus is introduced into the body? The white blood cells increase. You may have a fever. Your body begins to fight this virus that has been introduced, or something that has been introduced that does not belong in the body. And so you become sick. You have flu-like symptoms. You may have to get penicillin. You may have to be hospitalized, but they do everything they can to get this virus out of the system. Or if it's not a detrimental virus or something introduced to the body, the body can absorb it so that it becomes a part of the body, and the body just functions with that in the system. It's just there, and like the stuff that's in your gut and things like that, right? Well, you being the person that has decided to go against the grain and get away from this dysfunctional system, even if it's in your current family, your husband, your wife, your family, and you make a decision. When you make a decision to leave, I no longer will tolerate this. I deserve better than this. I'm not taking this abuse anymore. Whether it's in your immediate family, or if it's in your marriage or relationship that you're in, or situationship that you're in, and you make a decision, for a fact that the system now is working against you. Either you're going to comply, we're trying to pull you back in. That's where a lot of those narcissists begin to hoover. I'm trying to pull you back in to get you to go back with the system, because you're disrupting the homeostasis of the system. You are a disruptor. So we have to get you back in, get you back into our control, and get you back into this dysfunctional system, because you are starting to think for yourself. You're doing things that's causing us to have to pay attention to our own behaviors. You're doing things to disrupt. You are the disruptor. So a lot of you are thinking to yourself, you're messing up the family. You're coming in and you're always the troublemaker. When you come in, you're the truth teller. You're not the type of person that's going to conform to the rules within that family to keep quiet. Just be quiet. Don't say anything. Mom and daddy getting older, and you just have to be respectful, and you're part of the family. You just have to accept it. No, you don't. And then you come in and now you're the disruptor. You're the one that causes problems in the family. You're the problematic person. So the system either is going to try to absorb you back in to get you back into their homeostasis, or the system is now going to reject you. So a lot of you are going through the rejection from the family. You were rejected before. So what's the difference? Rejection could be your protection. And so now the family or the system is rejecting you and trying to push you out of the system. And so you feel rejected. You feel abandoned. You're having those feelings of abandonment. You're having those feelings of rejection. That's okay, because the system is rejecting you out. So your family has rejected you out because you're the troublemaker. You think you better than us. No, you think I'm better than you guys. You think you're so smart. No, you're struggling because you think I'm so smart. Oh, so you got yourself a little car, or you got yourself a little house. You got yourself a little something, a little education of things, So now you think you all that. No, you think I'm all that. So this is how you have to look at it. You have to change your perspective. You have to change the way you see things. The system is now rejecting you because you're bringing light to a situation. You're bringing light to a dysfunctional system. You're bringing accountability. It's not that you're bringing accountability with the expectation that they're going to be accountable, but you're no longer the scapegoat. You're no longer the person that's going to take, this drama. I'm not the one that's causing the problem in the family. You guys are the problem in the family. You're the ones that are maintaining this dysfunction. And stop trying to go in and fix the system. It's not up to you to fix the system. Either everybody's going to start changing and they're going to start waking up and starting to see why you've gotten away, and each subsystem is starting to get that aha, that epiphany, that revelation, or they're just going to go right back into the dysfunctional system. That's why sometimes you can't even go to the family reunion or the family function, or you have to make up your mind at how much time you want to spend in that dysfunction, because you come back with fleas. And so it takes you a long time to recover just from a family reunion, just from a Christmas visit, just from Thanksgiving. You tired, boss. You tired. But that's what happens when you break out of a dysfunctional system. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with the system. You just have to recognize what's going on in the system and the history of the system. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and go be great, y'all. Go be great.